Automakers are in a never-ending quest to provide consumers with great fuel consumption, but at the same time delivering the kind of power that they're used to with today's modern cars.
In Europe, the focus is not on hybrid technology. They put more time and energy into diesel technology. In fact, over 50% of the vehicles sold are running on diesel fuel.
So it's no surprise that the German manufacturers are the ones that sell the most diesel product in Canada, and they're dominated by premium brands like BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Volkswagen is the only non-premium brand to sell diesel cars. This Volkswagen Golf Wagon joins the Golf hatchback and Jetta sedan as the only non-premium diesels available in the market.
This 2010 Golf Wagon replaces the Jetta wagon and resurrects the Golf name, replacing the Rabbit name used for 3 years. By the way, the City Golf sedan and hatchback will be retired at the end of 2010. Since the very inexpensive city versions are going to be disappearing, Volkswagen is offering a lot of car for a very reasonable price. This TDI wagon, if you want to get it in the regular gasoline version, it's going to cost you around $22,000. You want to get the TDI clean diesel version, it's going to set you back about $27,000. Now, the cheapest Volkswagen diesel vehicle is the Golf hatchback at around $24,000.
The Golf isn't just back in name, but also with a new design that captures the essence of VW, but has been fully updated. Many people like VW cars for their understated design, and the tweaks to the front end are in keeping with this approach. The angular front bumper and nose are simple and effective. At the Los Angeles Auto Show, I had a chance to have dinner with the head designer of Volkswagen, Klaus Bischoff, and I asked him, what is the hardest part of a Volkswagen to make? And he said, it's right up here. See this big Volkswagen emblem? Well, it's surrounded by the hood, and it's cut out over top of it to frame it and make it look good. And he said, this is the hardest part for the manufacturers to put together. To get the spacing above the emblem just right is tricky to do, but it looks cool.
The previous Volkswagen Jetta wagon was very successful, with 3/4 of the sales being as diesels. Now, I have a feeling that this Golf is going to be just as successful. Let's take a look and see what makes this Golf wagon such an amazing vehicle. The cargo area is very deep and offers as much, if not more, space than a compact utility. The seats fold and also offer a pass-through for long items.
Well, the interior of this Golf wagon is slightly updated from previous Volkswagens that we've seen. The most notable change is the inclusion of a new steering wheel with new buttons. Now, the thing about the diesel version of the wagon, there's no base model. You have to go for the midline, comfort line, or the top-end high line. The good news is you get a very nicely finished vehicle on the inside. What I like about Volkswagen is their dashes are so simple and sophisticated. They're not cluttered with things that you really don't need. Soft touch materials on the dash, and the other thing is it comes nicely equipped. Now, here's the thing. I'm sitting in the Highline version, and for under $4,000 from the comfort line, you get added leather seats, this massive sunroof and moonroof overhead. It's beautifully equipped for under $4,000. That sounds like a good deal to me.
The big story with this Golf TDI wagon is combining all of this attention to detail and getting amazing fuel economy.
Now, here are the vital stats, the most important stats, the fuel stats. This TDI Golf wagon is capable of 6.7 or 42 miles per gallon in the city, or 4.6 or 61 miles per gallon on the highway. That's absolutely remarkable. And I've been able to achieve in the few days that I've been driving this vehicle easily 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers without even trying. The 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder diesel is rated at just 140 horsepower, but torque is rated at a whopping 236 foot-pounds at just 1,750 RPM. So what that means is this car just loafs along at low revs or mid-range RPM and pulls away from traffic lights and passes on the highway with absolute ease. So I picked up this wagon from our producer's house, And I knew it was a TDI, but I'm driving along and I'm not hearing any noise. There's no vibration. It's got so much power. I started second guessing myself. I'm thinking, no, we did get the TDI right. We didn't get the gasoline motor. And I got home, I got out the car and I looked at the back and the badge confirmed it. But it really is misleading. You have no idea once you drive this car for a little while. There's a diesel engine under the hood. It's smooth and quiet. Now you add in the wagon part that I love so much, because you get all the cargo you would get from a crossover vehicle, but you get the handling and the planted feeling on the road. It definitely is a much more sporty vehicle than a usual sport utility.
One of the reasons that this car is so responsive is because of the 6-speed DSG double clutch automatic transmission. It shifts really quickly both up and down, helping the diesel get to that sweet spot for maximum torque. There's a sport mode on the transmission, which keeps the revs up. But with the torque so low in the rev range, getting the RPMs up serves no purpose. It's best to let the engine stay at a lower RPM to get the best consumption, yet it still has lots of power. A 6-speed manual transmission is also offered. The seats are very comfortable and there's a lot of adjustment. You combine that with a very refined ride, and this Golf is a gem on the highway. You've got big windows all around, so outward visibility is fantastic. Handling is very sure-footed thanks to the low center of gravity and responsive suspension. The body rolls to a certain point, then becomes very predictable when cornering. Traction and stability control comes standard to help keep the Golf firmly planted. We recently had the Audi A3 TDI on the show, and it shares the same platform and engine as this Golf. And everything I liked about the Audi, I really like about the Golf. It's got a refined ride, great handling, and all around just a really great car to drive.
Well, Lacey, this Golf Wagon has already won awards. It won the Automobile Journalists Association of Canada's Best Family Car under $30,000. So the question is, what do you think of it?
Well, you know what, Zach, I actually was surprised. I really liked driving this car. The first thing that stands out for me is the starting price. You get a lot of vehicle for a good price. For $27,000, you get the diesel, and I love the diesel engine in this car. It's smooth, it's powerful, it's responsive, and the best thing is you hardly know you're driving a diesel. It's got a very refined ride, especially on the highway. And on the downside, I have to be honest, I was kind of picking at things here, but I'm not too crazy about the look and feel of the actual gear shift. Just not something that I like. Zach, what do you think?
Well, I love the engine. What I love about this car is that the mileage is actually attainable. Now, actually getting the specific posted ratings on this car, you'd have to work at a little bit, but you get very close with just driving it normally. And Lacey's right, when you drive it, you have no idea that you're driving a diesel. I also like the size of this vehicle. The back seat is roomy enough for most families, and the cargo area competes and outperforms many crossover vehicles. And touching on that point, if you were to go out and you were going to buy a crossover vehicle that was equipped as nicely as the one we have here and had a cargo area of equal size, you'd have to spend a lot more than they say $31,000 for the one that we have here. I think it offers a lot of value. And the only downside is nothing against this Golf Wagon. It's against wagons in general. The public really have this perception that it's not cool to drive a wagon. You go to Europe, 50% of all the vehicles over there are diesels, and the vast majority of utility vehicles are not crossovers or SUVs. They're what they call estate or touring cars. We call them station wagons. I like them. What do you think?
Well, you know, Zach, I'm one of those people. I have to admit that the image that goes along with driving a wagon is not something that I would like. And I admit, though, I really like driving this car, and I can really appreciate the practicality of it, but I don't know, just a wagon's not for me.
Give them a try.
Can't get enough of the new Golf TDI? Then visit drivingtelevision.com for our web-only segments. After the break.